Hello, 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 everybody. It is so good to see all of your digital non-existent faces in the chat. Welcome to Transplanar RPG, Arc 3, Episode 11 of our all transgender, people of color-led 100% homebrew Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition live-streamed actual play campaign set in an original non-colonial, anti-orientalist world. My name is Connie, my pronouns are they, he, and she, and I am your GM and executive producer. You can find me on Itch, Patreon, Twitter, and here on Twitch at Connie Chang, ByConniechang. If you pledge to my Patreon, you'll get exclusive GM tips and live access to Professor Chang's Tabletop Workshop, which is a monthly live stream where I field your questions about GMing, and then I post it later on for public access. But if you want live access to that, you gotta be a patron of mine. With that out of the way, I'm gonna pass along introductions to Lyra.
Hello everyone, my name's Lyra. I use they, she pronouns. I am the artistic director of Shout, Minnesota's trans and gender diverse voices and all trans me-led Twin Cities-based choir. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram at Shout Minnesota. That's lowercase sh, uppercase OUT. I am also a professional gigging musician as of yesterday. Hell yeah. Hype and chat. And you can find me streaming here once this gigging is done, probably next week, on my channel Rika Honda. That's Rika and Honda like the
Like
car
a Honda
company. That's
Civic?
what it
Yes.
is. Like a Honda. Yeah. And with that, I'll pass introductions on to Erica.
Hi everybody, I'm Erica, she, her pronouns, and I play Vinox Scherzo, the sorcerer with the... I don't even know what to say she has anymore. She's kind of going through a quarter-life crisis, depending on how you look at the lifespan of elves. And yeah, I stream here on Twitch. I am Erica New Girl. I've been streaming a lot of things. I'm a bit of a variety streamer. We just like to be lewd and have fun and be silly and gay. And right now I'm playing a lot of Red Dead Redemption 2. So if you're into really looking respectfully at Sadie Adler, the cowgirl who steals my heart every time I play that game, come check me out. I'll be streaming tomorrow. So yeah, that's me. Hey, look who's over here. Is that a Max? Max, are you here?
You see a Mac cow in the distance.
Oh my god.
All right, Max,
yeah,
tell us
Max.
about you. You've been dead. What have you been up to?
I have been on vacation. Dewey is probably alive. Yeah. That's me. I'm Max, they, them pronouns. I do a lot of sewing. You can find me on Etsy and Instagram at Stitchmonger. And also at Starchmonger, where my personal stuff is, but I don't post a whole lot. C, tell us about yourself.
Hi, y'all. My name's C. I use they, them pronouns. I'm a dancer, digital artist, tabletop streamer, also a creative consultant, dungeon dramaturg for all of your tabletop needs. Yeah, you can find me streaming on Twitch at pi_sharp, or you can find me posting lots of gay, lots of trans art on Pi Sharp Art on Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr. I have in my mind that next week I will open up commissions like in a more official way. So if you've been waiting for one of those or want one from me, all of the character art here is from me, and I've gotten better since I did that. So hey, eyes emoji at me. And I'll pass it right on. That's it for me. Connie snapped my headphones in half this week, so these are new. So
Called out.
I'll pass it back to you, Connie.
Okay, thanks for that, C. I just want to give a big thank you shout out to our Patreon paragons. These are patrons pledged to our highest tier on Patreon. We truly cannot do this without you. You are the paragons of our hearts. Abigail Rytel, Azura, Brooke Bright, Charles, Cora Eckert, Lex Slater, and Purple Mouse. Thank you so much. Here, as always, as I've promised, is a special haiku that's different every stream in your dedication. We hope your support and the perks you will receive will soften the blow. And with that, I'm going to pass things along to C.
Soften what blow? Jesus.
Don't worry
I'm
about
afraid suddenly very afraid. So by the way, everyone, Arc 1 episodes 1 through 3 are now available in podcast form on Spotify, Apple Music, Podbean, wherever you get your podcasts. They will release every Tuesday from Arc 1 onward. We know how shit our mic quality is, but we did a really good job of editing everything down to make listening a little bit easier and more concise for y'all. So patrons also get early access to all podcast episodes, as well as character sheets, Connie's GM notes, and the chance to have your tabletop OC cameo in this live stream. Patrons also get much, much more. You can use !Patreon to pull up the link in chat to pledge today. Also, if you would consider leaving a 5-star review on Apple Music for Transplanar RPG's podcast, that would be extremely helpful. If you like our stuff, even if you're not listening or don't want to go back and listen, it would be so sweet of y'all to do that because it really, really makes a difference for us. Also, more exciting stuff, shifting over to new stuff that we're doing, is Shoot Your One Shot is this month. We have been doing Shoot Your One Shot, which is a series of 4 one-shots set in Andake, our non-colonialist, anti-orientalist world. And each game features 1 different Transplanar PC and 2 to 3 BIMPOC guest stars, people who use the hashtag BIMPOC Shoot Your Shot at us specifically, which is amazing. Wow, who knew? We have already played our first ever game this past Tuesday, which was Moku featuring Lyra as Manaia. So check that out. It'll be up on our YouTube soon. It should be on our VODs right now. And we're gearing up for game number 2 this coming Tuesday, July 20th, with Hazard Pay, a survival horror game starring Max as Dewey and 3 other employees at the URL struggling to contain an escaped experiment. So if you've ever wanted some URL Dewey lore, now is the time. This week is it. And then on Wednesday, July 28th, we have Your Good Friend, a thrilling heist with Vinox Scherzo to steal a book from the library in the Royal Palace of Tulong. And then finally, on August 4th, we're playing Mercy, Mercy Me, a dangerous rescue mission with me into the depths of a monster lair. And we're collecting tips through August 4th that will be split evenly between us and all of our guest stars. So use !One Shot in chat to learn more, or use !Donate to contribute to our tip jar. This is really, really important to us as we want to support all of these BIMPOC folks in the tabletop space, most of whom are also trans and queer. So please, 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 if you have the means, donate. It means so much to us. And speaking of donors and donor thanks and sub and tip goals, Erica, take it away.
Yes, as you know, we love to thank all of you who support this channel, whether that's through subs, gift subs, cheering, hosting, rating, and these are the folks who did so during Arc 3, Episode 9. Rika Honda, Purple Mouse TK, Erica New Girl, Pi Sharp, and It's Probably Okay. Moving on to this episode, we have a 25 sub goal, which we actually just passed. Anyway, to explain how this works, 5 subs nets us a point of collective inspiration that we cap at 3 right now. 15 subs gets us an auto crit that's on the board, which anyone can use, including the GM. And at 25 subs, which we've already unlocked today, it unlocks the ultimate prize. One of the players has to monologue in character about the situation at hand. And if we could just have a 1d1 and just, I think Dewey needs to monologue. I think
Yeah. So Max, pick a number between 1 and 1.
1.
Okay, let me roll the 1d1. All right. I hold on to your trousers.
This is what I came back for.
Speaking of Max, even though you were gone, tell us what happened last session.
I'm going to do my best. You can always get to our recap document by going to bit.ly/transrecap or by using the ! Recap command in the chat. Here is what I think happened last week. The conscious majority of the team goes on the search for Cain before Quicksilver's Kusing Guild gets to them first. Oka and Manaia work through some baggage. Reb and V finally have a first date at the Temple of the Gods who rejected her. Whoops. Oka's Kaindar leads them to a fighting ring based out of an old theater. They catch up to them, and when God diplomacy fails, they move to attack as Vinash versus Scott and Nectus. Skain decks Oka and then clips out of the floor and despawns. Oka out-of-bound glitches through the ceiling and interrupts a Revi kiss. The team heads into a fruit store, a possible front for the Kusing Guild, and they're able to talk their way in since V's old friend Trenchfoot works there. They go into a back room, dun dun dun.
Thank you for that, Max. That was glorious. Dewey alert in the chat, please, for that incredible recap. And now let's move things along to Lyra about the title.
It was muted. Oh my god. Hello, everyone. My name is Lyra. Anyway. Now moving on to the title of Arc 3, Episode 11. As always, the titles of our episodes are taken from poems or songs written by queer, trans, and/or people of color.
Lyra, you are you're clipping just a little bit, so if you could direct your mouth more, toward the mic would be fantastic.
The title of this episode is Renegade Flesh, which is from the poem Never to Dream of Spiders by Audre Lorde. The full verse reads, Once the renegade flesh was gone, fall air lay against my face, sharp and blue as a needle. But the rain fell through October, and death lay, a condemnation within my blood.
Thank you for that, Lyra. And now, finally, moving on to the session itself. Some content warnings for our campaign in this session in particular may include abuse, comas, fantasy violence, natural disasters, alcohol and substance use, addiction, death of loved ones, memory loss, emotional trauma and baggage, self-destructive behavior, bloodletting, cults and cult-like behavior, and anxiety and panic attacks described in detail. Also, like body horror and like monster and gore and stuff like that, which I think is par for the course for Transplanar RPG. Use !CW in chat at any time for a reminder of the content warnings for our campaign and our session. Please don't feel shy about using them. And with that out of the way, let's get started. Oh, whoops. The content warnings are actually for Moku right now, so I'm going to edit that real fast. So just give me a second to do that. Staying alive, staying alive.
We begin with a rock fall. Everyone dies.
A rock falls and everyone
roll
dies.
new characters.
Actually, you know what?
Shit. I'm gonna play Hie Oka, I think, who's I don't know. I've lost myself already.
Okay, I updated it. Let's go. Let's get right into the session. Thank you for that. See. Okay. What wakes you, Dewey, is the sound of bird song. A cardinal perches on the railing of the balcony that protrudes from your room in the hero's quarters in the Tower of Risk and Reward. This little bird sings sweetly with its beak, its intelligent, beady black eyes glittering in the light of the morning sun. As the cardinal continues to sing, you, Dewey, begin to stir. You're lying in a bed, a nice bed, a soft bed. The smell of cinnamon tea suffuses your nostrils. Your head hurts, like you pulled an all-nighter and your hollow bones creak at the joints. Your body feels like it hasn't moved in a long, long time. As the tendrils of sleep and nightmare pull away from your consciousness, you become distantly aware of light. Warm light, filtering through a window nearby and a fresh breeze. You open your eyes and see a familiar room. The same room you stayed in before you left for the carnival. The carnival. Your heart drops. Memories wash over you like waves pounding against a sandy shore. Yes, you were in the carnival. Hana was there, Ualani, Rose, but now you're here. And you are alone. What do you do?
As Dewey realizes that he's awake and all the stuff that's happened, he, I think, like, closes his eyes and, like, lies really still and tries to go back to sleep. But he's been asleep for multiple weeks, so there's no way he's going to be able to fall back asleep. So he, I guess, slowly pushes himself up, so he's sitting and kind of just sits up in bed, zones out for quite a few minutes. No one's sure of how long. Just like events of the past couple of weeks flashing through his mind.
Dewey, you lie there in a state of what emotion is flooding through your body, right? Is it shock? Is it grief? Is it guilt, insecurity?
It is disappointment. Because everything that happened, sort of.
Okay. You lie there staring at the blank white ceiling arched above your head. Disappointment, right? Just surging through your body like a heavy stone lying on top of your chest, weighing you down. And then you hear footsteps approaching the door. Familiar, peppy footsteps. You'd recognize them from a mile away, Tonga's. And the smell of cinnamon tea becomes more pronounced as Tonga approaches the door. Do you do anything, or you just continue lying there?
He's just lying there with his eyes open. Yeah.
Okay. Your vision is a little blurry because your glasses are not on your face. The door creaks open. You see Tonga's form silhouetted at the threshold, and she's whistling and humming to herself a little Nabalian song, and then she draws to a abrupt stop at the base of your bed as she realizes your eyes are open. Dewey? Dewey! She sets down the tray and rushes over to your side. Oh, Dewey, are you awake?
Dewey rolls over towards to face Tonga, and I think if she's reaching out to him, he takes her hands and kind of buries his face in them.
Oh, Dewey. Hey, you're okay. Oh, whoops, I wasn't supposed to say your name. That doctor person will probably be a little mad at me, but whatever. What's your name, person? Do you remember it?
I think Dewey just keeps holding on to Tonga, and he says Tonga's name.
I'm Tonga, yes. But what's your name? Do you remember? I need you to look at me, please.
He's not gonna look at her. Tonga says do you remember your name? He just nods.
Okay, all right. Well, here, you must be so confused. Tonga picks up your glasses and slides them onto your face gently for you. And the world switches from a blur into crisp, right? Crisp detail. And you see Tonga's concerned, very round and sweet face, looking up at you, her dark eyes clouded with worry. And she pushes a mug of tea into your hands. Please, drink up, Dewey. Here, this will calm your nerves.
Dewey sits up and holds the tea in his lap, and looks down, is just staring at it but not drinking it.
So, Cardew, you haven't said anything since waking up. Are you okay? Can you speak? Can you understand me?
I'm okay.
Oh. Okay. All right. You must be wondering what's been going on and where everyone is. Well, here's the thing. And Tonga fills you in. She talks about how Dr. Aluso came, after 2 weeks of, a week of radio silence from y'all. They made the 3-week trek all the way down from the edge of the Euclid Chasm to Raso, the capital city of the championship, right? She talks about how she and Xiaohu were pulled out of the carnival like the rest of you. There was an explosion in the heart of Clothal Jungle, which you recall now as she's talking. You recall the big top. You recall Scott and Nectis. You recall the judgment of V. Noxerzo, right? Her golden heart glimmering in the air. You recall it being flung through the atmosphere, and then the tendrils of your nightmare, still sloughing off of your consciousness like black tar. It's the last thing you remember. And then Tonga talks about the meeting with Atalanta, gathering everyone to go to try to find Cain, who presumably still has Scott and Nectis inside of them. And the final decision for everyone, Oka, Manaia, V, Xiaohu, Dr. Aluso, Rev, and Talat Om, right, to infiltrate the lair of the Kusing Guild to find Bloodthirst, who will have a lead on where Cain is. With that, like, Tonga stops speaking. A couple, like, of minutes have passed at this point. She's staring at you very carefully, like you're a wounded animal. Do you have any questions, Dewey? Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. So the rest of the team is out looking for Bloodthirst?
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Xiaohu sent me a message. Ree said that they'd found some sort of entrance into the sewers, which is where the Kusing Guild is headquartered. They sent Manaia, Oka, and Via head first. They'll be bringing up the rear guard in just about 30 minutes or so. But Cardew, I think you should rest. Maybe you should take it easy first.
Yeah, I don't know that me joining is gonna help any.
That's not what I mean. I'm sure your presence would help. Maybe even change a losing battle into a successful one, because you're amazing, Cardew. Everyone thinks you're amazing. But maybe the first thing you have to do now is take care of yourself before you can take care of other people?
Yeah, it's best I don't get involved right now. They're capable. They'll be fine.
All right. Well, why don't you just wait here? I'll bring you some food. Tonga gets up and, like, pats you on the feathered shoulder, and she hustles outside. So while she's gone, Dewey, what do you do?
Dewey sets the cup of tea on the nightstand and pulls the covers off, gets up. I think he's gonna go to the balcony.
Okay.
I think you can see, like, from the balcony through the open door towards where Tonga went. So he's actually going to, there's like what's the thing that, like, provides shade to a balcony?
Like an overhang?
Yeah. He's gonna, like, make his way up there.
Okay. You're gonna fly, presumably? You're gonna flutter up there?
He's yeah, trying not to fly, because he, like, pulls himself up, and he's you know when you don't use your, like, muscles for a while and then you use it, like, really suddenly and you're like, ah, god, oh no. That happens, but he makes his way up there and sits on the overhang.
Okay. You slide open the glass sliding window/door that leads out into the balcony. The cardinal that was singing a sweet bird song on the railing takes flight and disappears off into the sky, right? As you approach. You clamber your way onto the overhang and you look out over all of Raso, which sprawls open underneath you, right? This urban city center. The sunless sky illuminating a dull gray light over everything. Shops, people bustling to and fro, children running around in the streets. You see residential homes. You see spires of smoke and gas rising from larger factory-like buildings. And then you also see the 7 other towers of Raso spiraling up, punching into the atmosphere in the distance, all around you. You smell like the clean, crisp air, and a nice breeze brushes and ruffles through your feathers. What's on your mind as your taloned feet dangle over the overhang?
I think it's hard to know. It's hard to realize how many people are just how many people are in a city until you're up that high and they look like ants on the ground. And to Dewey, it just feels like this entire city full of people have bought into the championship. And it feels so wrong to him because he thought he was gonna, like, stay objective and not get, like, when he came to work here, he tried not to get caught up in it, but it happened anyways. And the people that he met and loved were taken from him because of it, because he got carried away. and his family was taken from him because he got carried away in his work, and it just seems like his fault. It feels like it's his fault.
As you're sitting there wallowing in all of this, right? A very like somber feeling weighing down your feathers. You hear the door from inside your room open and you hear Tonga go, "Cardew? Cardew!"
I stick a wing over the edge of the overhang and like wave.
Oh, there you are. Tonga makes her way to the balcony and she's got like kebabs. She's like holding like two meat kebabs, one vegetable kebab in one hand and a meat kebab in the other. She makes her way to the railing and looks up at you. "Cardew, here, you must be hungry."
He'll take it.
You know, now that the carnival's gone from Clotho, I was thinking maybe we could go down there and try to find that rune that'll help you with your bomb watch.
It's probably a good idea. I'm not helping anyone by being a literal time bomb traveling with them.
Well, you know what they say. You gotta help yourself first before you can help other people, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Can you come down from there? I'm not very good at climbing. I join you, but I don't want to fall over. And I haven't invented wings yet. That's on the list.
He slowly like slides down and lands on his feet. Yeah.
You land on your feet, clutching your vegetable skewer, and Tonga sort of like brings like a matronly arm over your shoulder and leads you back into the room. All right, let's head down to Clotho when you're ready. And on the two of you retreating into the hero's quarters, and Tonga sliding the balcony door closed, we cut to a door sliding open. But this one is in the back room of a fruit stand. And the door that's been slid open reveals a long, rickety flight of stone stairs leading down into the depths of Raso. A disgusting smell wafts up from under there. It's the sewers. There's no sugarcoating it. It smells like offal and disease, and like disgusting things, right? And gray and black water. There's no light down there, but sort of rimmed at the edge of this door, Oka, Manaia, and V, the three of you stand with Trenchfoot having just opened this door with the key strapped to her waist. And this lizard folk woman turns back to face the three of you, a big white smile flashing on her sharp teeth. She says, "All right, are the three of you ready to meet BT?"
Right. Let's go. Manaia goes to duck through the doorway.
Sorry, could you repeat that last part? It sort of trailed off a bit.
Sorry. Manaia goes to duck through the doorway.
Hold on now, hold your horses. I'll be your guide through the sewers. After all, I'm going to need to, be the one to introduce you to Bloodthirst. And Trenchfoot takes the first step down. Oka and V, what did the two of you do?
V goes ahead and casts light on the diamond in her palm to light the way. Allows everybody else to go forward first, but as Trenchfoot is going in, be like, "You've always been the best. Thank you so much for all this work you're putting in for us and helping us."
You're very welcome, V. Anything for an old friend.
I think Oka also tries to cast light, and I say tries because they like open their hand to cast light like they have for the past, I don't know, month, like every day for the last few months. And it like kind of sparks in their hand and then goes a little red and then poofs out. And they kind of look at it and they like try it again. And like there wasn't even light that time. They just kind of fuck.
What?
And they kind of like look at V for a minute. But then I think like everyone's going and they just kind of follow.
V obviously sees this because V is waiting to hold up the rear, and it's like, is everything okay, Oka?
Yeah, it's like I can't really. The weave is still here. I can still feel it. I just can't make the light. And they're like trying a few more times. I don't know. Maybe I'm just tired or something.
Maybe it'll come back. Everything's fine. I've got enough light for all of us. And follows down.
Oka, why are you unable to cast light?
Oh, I don't know. It's just for fun reasons.
Did you have an idea behind this? Is it just for flavor, or?
I mean, for later. It doesn't have to come up right now necessarily.
Okay, interesting. Do you want to message me about that, maybe?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, because I wouldn't. This is not something I've imposed on Oka. Just to make it clear to everyone, this is something Oka's taking on himself. Manaia, Oka, and V bringing up the rear. The three of you follow Trenchfoot down this narrow passageway, down into the bowels of Raso, until finally Trenchfoot, who has lit a torch, like fire, sparking into existence at the end of the stick, lands at the bottom of this flight of stairs. And the three of you hear the rushing of water as you enter into a sewer system, right? A wide sewer system. This thing is maybe like 15 feet across with like a 15-foot tall, like arched, right, cement ceiling. Everything smells awful. There's like a little like walkway on the side that, you know, you've arrived on the other side, another walkway, but it's interrupted by a stretch of like 15-foot wide sewer water, right? And you're not exactly sure how deep the sewer water goes, but Trenchfoot just says, "Don't step into the water. Try to avoid that. Hear me? If you value your lives."
Ugh, loud and fucking clear.
I think V is gonna like kind of be on the edge, doing a little bit like, what do you mean like this? Just like whoa, and like just is playing with everybody.
Okay, make a dex save.
Oh gosh.
Tempt fate, and fate will tempt you back. What did you get?
You said dex save, so
Yep.
5.
That will not be sufficient. You gonna take it?
Let's do it.
Okay, V, you're dancing on the edge. At the edge of the walkway, Trenchfoot goes, "You fool!" Just as your foot slips on a patch of like moldy slime that's sort of everywhere in this sewer, and you fall into the water. V, as you splash into the gray water, it splashes up. Because you failed so hard, I'm not going to allow other people to try to save you from falling in. And V, you're going to take, let's see, a fun 4 points of acid damage as you
Nice.
splash into this disgusting, irradiated, like corrupted, filthy water.
Perfect.
The current is rather strong, though, so now Oka and Manaia, you can do something to try to pull V out if you want, as she gets borne down this disgusting waste river.
Manaia casts a lazy glance into the water, and for a moment considers, and then rolls her eyes, and thrusts out her hand. And okay, yeah. She thrusts out her hand, and how do I want to flavor this? Okay, I've got it. Manaia thrusts out her hand, and in the water where V is, there is sort of a as air and wind fills the space around her, and it swirls under her and starts to lift her out towards Manaia. And V technically needs to make a strength save.
V, are you just gonna... Okay.
Or you can just like...
You can let it happen, V, if it seems like it's trying to save you.
Well, it was a net one, so whatever.
Yeah. So, the winds pick up as Manaia curls her fingers, and V, you are rather unceremoniously thrust by these whipping winds back onto the shore, the land. I'm guessing it's like concrete or something.
Yes,
or
it's
stone.
concrete. Yeah, concrete and stone. V, you splatter onto the ground as a gust of wind deposits you in front of Manaia, Oka, and Trenchfoot, and you're just covered in gross stuff. So V, why don't you tell us like what is like something that's like clinging onto your body, like an object that's found its way onto you?
Yeah, we'll just say that there is a. We'll just. How about? Oh, gosh, you put so much bad imagery into my head. I'm trying to like not pick the worst thing. We'll just say that it was like a. How about like this is a callback to an interlude. A chunk of like watermelon shell is like hooked onto her shoulder, and it's like suctioned on. She has to, like off the shoulder.
That was a horrible noise. Thank you for that, Erica. You peel off the watermelon and you toss it back into the filth river, and it disappears under the gray water. Oka, how are you reacting?
I think Oka had gone to like give their hand to V when she fell, and then they like kind of looked and they're like, and just like stepped back a little and let once they felt like the wind's picking up, they just kind of like were like, and now they're like, okay. Are we done having fun? Have you learned anything from this, V? Tell me, please. Tell me fucking please that you've learned something today.
You know, when my old friend Trenchfoot gives us instructions, maybe we should listen. Maybe once, I'm going to trust what my friend says now.
Life lessons, everyone. Life lessons. Let's, we need to move.
Right. V, get up. Hold your arms out. Feet apart.
Okay. Like all of a sudden V feels like very like regimented and like puts out the light again.
Right. Stay still. This won't hurt. Manaia, I think so much trouble coming up with flavor for this. Manaia thrusts both hands. Let's try that again. Manaia thrusts both hands towards you, and those same winds, with just a couple of leaves, whip around you. They like hit you, but you don't feel it because they go perfectly around you, and maybe your clothes sort of like waver in these powerful winds that are just encircling all four of your limbs, your torso, your head, everything, as the sewer water and all of the gunk and all that kind of stuff is just blown off.
Wow, thank you. That feels a lot better. I don't feel like I'm covered in sludge.
Like it was hurting you. I need you at peak performance. We might have a fight coming up. Let's go.
Enough dilly-dallying. We have to go. Trenchfoot leads the way and leads the three of you down this like narrow walkway, right? Toward a bend in the sewer tunnel. As you go around the bend, the three of you, your ears perk up as you hear other people approaching. And Trenchfoot slows down, right, as you like approach the bend, and she like holds up a hand like in caution for the three of you. And then she peeks around the corner and you hear her go, "Ah, shit, this guy." And coming around the corner is a familiar-looking ratfolk man, flanked on either side by these big, burly dudes, right? Ace and his lackeys, Priam and Cato. "Ace, what are you doing down here? That's, none of your concern, Trenchfoot. But the people you're leading are. What? What are you talking about? I've run into these 3 numbnuts before. And, didn't you get my message? I'm supposed to be the one leading them to Bloodthirst? What? But that's not what we... Fine. You. And then Trenchfoot leans in and whispers something to Ace that I don't think any of you can catch unless you make a perception check.
I'll make that perception check.
I got an at one.
What was it? 2 plus 5.
Oh
7.
boy. The
I got a
rushing of the...
12.
Okay. Oka and Manaia, the rushing of the sewer water just like gets a little bit loud, you know, as Trenchfoot leans in and says something and drowns it out for you. But V with a 12, your big elven ear perks up and you catch Trenchfoot saying, but I want a cut, okay? A nice fat cut. Yeah, you'll get your cut, Trenchfoot. Trenchfoot turns around with a big smarmy smile you've only seen on V, addresses the 3 of you and says, sorry folks, this is where my leadership ends. You'll be traveling with Ace, Priam, and Cato for the rest of your journey to Bloodthirst. Enjoy! And with that, Trenchfoot starts scurrying between the 3 of you to get back the way she came. What do the 3 of you do?
Aren't you two supposed to be dead?
I think they're talking about us, bro. Oh, hey, says Priam. Forgive me, I don't really remember how to distinguish the 2 of them, so I'm just gonna play both of them as, like, the same unit, but, like, in 2 different bodies.
They are. Honestly, they are.
So Priam is just gonna go, yeah, well, you didn't kill us hard enough, you double-pupiled freak.
You mean you didn't knock your skull against mine hard enough? Fucking dumbass.
Enough, says Ace. Turn their beady, rodent-like eyes on the 3 of you. Follow me if you want to get to BT.
V is going to shout back as they're following, turning back to where Trenchfoot is heading back. Don't remember those directions, friend, to that nice little score I reminded you of.
I will. Thank you, V. Such the consummate professional. And
you know, I do
Trenchfoot,
what I can do.
and you see her tail whisk around a corner and disappear back up those flight of stairs. Ace, Priam, and Cato continue leading you down the sewer tunnels. And just as you do, why don't the 3 of you make a survival check for me?
I also, as we're walking, would love to email my murder boyfriend.
You'd like to sense where your murder boyfriend is? Okay, sounds good.
Hey, Connie,
Yeah?
I rolled with my uwu fuck dice,
You got a new woo?
and I got a new woo.
Okay, a nat 20. Wonderful.
I got an
Woo.
18.
18, that's pretty good. What's the total on the survival for that, Manaia?
22.
22, okay. Okay?
Just a 14, but my magic works regardless.
Yeah, it sure does. So, Oka and V, you've never been none of you actually have ever been in the sewers of Raso before, and you're noticing very quickly just how twisty and turny it is. There's like a million different branches, a million different crossroads, like a dozen different directions that you could go in that don't seem to follow any rhyme or reason, right? Even with your relatively high rolls of 14 and an 18, it doesn't seem to be on a grid system, it doesn't seem to be on a circle system, it just seems to be random and arbitrary, right? But Ace is leading you, like, with a lot of purpose, like makes a left and then a right and then a right and then a left and then straight and then right, like seems to know exactly where he's headed, moves with purpose, and so do Priam and Cato. See his like little rat tail like whisking as he takes you over little bridges that like go like that connect the walkways, right? Even climbing like up like these like ladders to get to a higher part of the sewer and then climbing back down ladders. It's like chutes and ladders and bridges and like sewer style. right? And all around you, you hear the gurgling of like water, like running around in pipes, a little squeaking of like rodents and other animals that live down here in the sewers, right? And occasionally, the three of you notice dark forms moving under the surface of the gray water. Manaia, with your natural 20 plus your 22, Ace is taking you somewhere deep, deep, deep in the sewers, somewhere isolated. The farther the farther you walk and follow him, the fewer like little rats you see, right? And like the more dust seems to settle in the air. Wherever this is not very populated or very like well attended at all. You also notice with your 22, you start to see bones. Right? Bones littering the walkway, bones floating down this gray river. And Oka, with your magic, you are moving in the direct opposite direction, you're realizing now, of where you're sensing Cain. And I think all of this is like coming to bear as Ace is leading you through like an archway. Right? That you see seems to like maybe lead out into a cistern area, which is like a big chamber where there's like a pool of like gray water in the middle, pipes that jut out from like a circular chamber, the walls all around you, and like spill gray water into the central chamber. And the archway seems to be leading into the cistern, but it's quite a large chamber. What do the three of you do?
I think as Oka is like pinging on with their blood brand of castigation, they're holding on to it, and they like are like, okay, Cain's down here, they're over there, and then like they're making turns and they're realizing that they're starting to move farther apart, and they start to slow down, and then they like pause and like look over their shoulder, kind of past V, and they lock eyes with her, and they could just kind of mouth, "We're not going the right way."
I think V will cast message and be like, I don't think we can trust these guys at all. I don't know where they're taking us.
Can you let Manaia know? Oh.
At Oka slowing down, Manaia turns back and goes, "Keep up, Oka. We need to stay together. We don't know what's down here."
Oka will return the message to V, asking if she can let Manaia know that we're not being led in the right direction and to be prepared.
Yep, so I'll cast message now to Manaia and be like, is Oka sensing that we're not being led in the right direction? It's a potential trap.
Manaia responds, "Figured as such." She pulls out her axe and starts sort of using it as a walking stick, as like the excuse of her having it at the ready.
Okay. As the three of you realize that perhaps this isn't exactly the way to Bloodthirst, you ready yourselves, you're on alert. Ace, Priam, and Kato stop at the mouth of this archway, right? And Ace turns with a smarmy smile under his rodent-like whiskers, chitters to the three of you. Well, just down here is where Bloodthirst is.
Where are all his guards?
This is his private chambers. In fact, why don't I call him forward? Master Bloodthirst, are you in there? And you hear some movement from farther in the chamber, but you'll have to walk in closer to get a look. What do the three of you do?
I think V is going to look at both Oka and Manaia, have a heavy sigh and be like, well, we've come this far, friends. And V is just going to stroll on past and holding the light up to hopefully see as deeply as she can.
As V walks forward, Manaia's grabs maybe like the back scruff of your shirt and says, "All right, Ice, lead the way."
Ah, no. The audience with Bloodthirst is yours. I can't be there. Please, we'll stand guard here.
Manaia raises an eyebrow.
Well, friends, Oka, you like a good adventure, right?
There was some noise deeper in the cavern. Is there any way to discern a little more what it is? Is there like sounds of scratching or like big movement or anything like that?
With your perception score from earlier, no. You'll have to get closer.
This is ridiculous. You won't even introduce us. Ugh, knew you were scumbags, but I didn't think you were that bad. And Oka will pass by as well, and they lock eyes with, like, they look at Manaia and V with, like, meaning, being like, okay, we at least know what's going on. So they're about to try to either jump us from behind or so on and such forth, and they also walk through.
What about you, Manaia?
Manaia will take up the rear, axe at the ready, traps. She's expecting a trap, and the last time they encountered a trap, it was her fault it didn't go well. So she's going to wait for the other two to go first, and also to defend against a backstabbing.
Okay. As the three of you move through the archway, Manaia, with your high roll from earlier, and also V, the two of you will notice as your gem lights up the interior of the cistern that the roof, the mouth of the archway that you're walking through, has like little like perforations, like holes, like in like a straight sort of like a arch like above you, that like a non-keen eye probably wouldn't have noticed. And now as you move deeper into this cistern, you see what was making the noise. So let me just paint a picture for you. You're at like the edge of this ledge that's sort of like overlooking maybe like a 10-foot drop into like a cistern area, almost like a really small silo, right? But instead of like rain, it's filled with like brackish, gross, muddy sewer water, maybe like halfway up, so about 5 feet of sewer water, but you're actually not sure how deep it goes, right? But across this like circular cistern, you see another ledge, maybe 30 feet across, where the noise is coming from. There's like a scuffling noise by the archway directly across from you. And now moving out of the shadows, you realize the scuffling noise was boots against stone tile. Coming out of the shadows is a figure. Cowboy hat on and a slit eye. Quicksilver, the former regent of Nabal and presumably one of Bloodthirst's right-hand men. Why, hello there, Oka, Manaia, and V. It's been a while. Here to see BT?
That's the idea. You aren't him.
Exactly. I'm not him. And I'm afraid this is where your journey ends for good. And Quicksilver raises his hand to a lever that's sort of next to him on the wall, and he pulls it. And the three of you hear a noise as portcullises that were hidden like in those dots slam down behind you, right? And there's also a portcullis that slams down in front of Quicksilver. So he's on the other side, and you're separated from him by a portcullis. And then the water that's been rushing into the central chamber seems to like increase in volume as like more gray water splashes into the central chamber from the pipes all around. And the three of you hear something paddling in the water underneath you. And you see several dark forms moving in the water in front of you. What do the three of you do?
Manaia, as soon as she sees Quicksilver going for the lever, she's gonna thrust her hand out and again cast what is written as lightning lure, but has no lightning involved because Manaia doesn't do lightning. And try to pull him, because he's on the ledge, right, and could fall into the water. Right,
but he already pulled the lever, and now there's a portcullis in front of him. So if you were even trying to pull him, he'd like just get slammed against the other side of the portcullis.
That's okay. I'm gonna do that anyway.
Okay, how does a lightning lure work?
Mm-hmm.
Is it a
the target
damage
must succeed-
spell?
It deals damage.
Okay, so I'm gonna actually
But
have
it-
us roll initiative. You can do something
Okay.
that doesn't deal damage before we enter initiative, but if it does
Okay,
deal
yeah,
damage, I
yeah.
won't allow it.
In that case, no damage. I'm just gonna pull him until he's against the bars. And I can stare directly into his eyes. And I'll say, "You are messing with forces you do not understand. We are more powerful and more capable than you know. And you will come to regret this." And she lets go.
Is it an attack roll or a saving throw?
It's a strength saving throw.
Okay,
to
I'm just gonna.
resist.
Okay, against what?
Against 14.
Okay, Quicksilver. Like, what does it look like as you use lightning lure?
Those same winds that carried V out of the sewer water whip around behind Quicksilver, and then, as quick as they appeared, envelop him and lift his body and push him right up against the bars.
That's what you think, Missy. But these forces of darkness, post-cataclysm, they're just power, and I know power. Those who are strong can use it to our advantage, and those who are weak get consumed. He says, as now the three of you see tentacles like thrashing out of the water. And the ends of these tentacles are like, instead of suckers, it's like sharp, spiny spikes, almost like porcupine quills at the ends of these like fleshy tentacles coming out of the water. Oka and V, what do the two of you do anything before we roll initiative?
God. I have an idea. No, I'm not gonna do it. All right. Yeah. V is just gonna crack up and get ready, get all dexterous, and get ready to rumble here.
Okay, so you get limber, you crack. Maybe like you crack your neck left to right. You roll your shoulders, and I'll give you advantage on your initiative roll because you're getting limber. What about you, Oka?
I think Oka, just like one more time, this is going to become relevant now for you, Connie, tries to cast light again, but instead like this kind of like red light flickers and seeps into their hand, and they don't cast light, but they do cast false life on themselves, which is going to give me 1d4 plus 4 temporary HP.
Okay, lightning crackles around your body as the power of Vinash seeping through your magic envelops you to try to protect you. So how many temp HP do you get?
8, baby! It was a 4 plus 4.
That's awesome. Okay. And before we roll initiative, we are going to cut to break, and we will come back with this battle and Dewey Clothell Jungle fun time. So we'll be back in 10 minutes. Enjoy the fan art reel. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you to everyone for that hype train and getting us to 25 and now at 13 subs. That is amazing. Y'all are awesome. We hope you're enjoying this so far. We'll be back in 10 minutes. That is going to be just about 10 our time. Don't know what time it'll be on your end. But we'll see you soon. We love you so much. See you in 10. Speesh.
I learned this from a witch who was born of many gender. I learned to see a light. I learned to watch it glitter. I learned a secret from the light. I learned to watch it dancing. I learned to swallow light, to illuminate my darkness. I learned to feel love when I look upon my dark things. I learned this from a witch who was born of many gender. I learned to see a light. I learned to watch it glitter. I learned a secret from the light. I learned to watch it dancing. I learned to swallow light, to illuminate my darkness. I learned to feel love when I look upon my dark things. I learned this from a witch who was born of many gender. I learned to see a light. I learned to watch it glitter. I learned a secret from the light. I learned to watch it dance.
Tea, blood.
Hello, everybody. It's so good to see all your non-existent digital faces in the chat yet again. Let's hop right back into Arc 3, Episode 11 of our campaign. So reminders about content warnings for this session and this campaign include abuse, comas, fantasy violence, natural disasters, alcohol and substance use, addiction, death of loved ones, memory loss, emotional trauma and baggage, self-destructive behavior, bloodletting, cults and cult-like behavior, and anxiety and panic attacks described in detail. As a reminder, use !CW at any time in the chat for a reminder of these content warnings. With that out of the way, let's get right back into it. Clothau Jungle is pretty much exactly how you remember it, Dewey. Green, dark, overgrown, untamed. You and Tonga pick your way through the foliage, through the underbrush, looking at the various wild tracks that trample over the soft soil of the underbrush here. You see hoof marks from how many weeks ago? And you recall an old phantom pain of slamming into a tree branch and then falling into the ground as horses and their riders stormed all around you, the earth shaking like an earthquake, like a fissure forming, like a mudslide, and then you're back here, walking through peaceful forest with Tonga. You see Tanga's form, she has a machete out and she's sort of like forging away through this jungle, cutting down vines and branches that get in your way, and she's casting occasional anxious glances at you, as though she's your mom and she's afraid that you might wander off or break down at any moment. Like you're a fragile object, not a man who's been through so many things already. All right, I think the tablet should be coming up soon. How are you holding up, Cardew?
Much easier to get places than last time I was here. So.
Yeah, when like a million other people aren't rushing all around us, trying to attack us and kill us.
Yep. Where did you head off to? I know I lost you pretty early.
It's all a blur. I don't really remember. I thought I saw someone I lost a long time ago, and then Xiaohu and I got separated, and then I was in a kissing booth. It's just so confusing, and then there was just this big explosion. I remember flying through the air, and then I was in some sort of nightmare, and when I woke up, I was back in the tower.
Does it look like there was an explosion in this forest recently?
No. Everything looks normal, right? Like completely 100% normal. You even hear like bird song, you hear like the chittering of bugs nearby, right? Like a breeze winding its way through the branches, ruffling your feathers. It should be coming up soon. Stay guarded. Even when the carnival's not here, the jungle can be dangerous.
What am I looking out for? And how did you find those?
A big stone tablet. I found it by following my magical glasses. And she turns and you see that she's got these the multicolored lenses like shifting over her goggles, and she's like clicking through it to like detect like magic, basically. It's coming up. I can see its aura. It should be nestled up against this little cliff area. I think that's where the sewer opens out into, actually.
Oh. Jeez, glad I didn't end up over there when things exploded.
It's really gross. Ah, there it is. Do you see it? Cardew? And Tonga leads you like she cuts down like a final branch, and you step into like a small clearing, where you see a cliff, like sort of like a mound, right? Like how sometimes like in jungles, like the ground is uneven, you know, like this is like a little bit of like a little hill rising, right? A rocky hill with like trees growing at extreme angles out of it, right? And like a small but you at first you think it's like a waterfall or like a river, a stream like flowing down the side of this hill, but you realize it's disgusting, gross gray runoff water. And it's coming out of like a cement pipe that's built into like the top of this hill, maybe 15 feet up, but like 40 feet away from you. Right, you see like the rim, the gray edge of rimmed with moss of the cement pipe. Yep, that's one of the I don't really know what they call it. I'm not really big into city planning. Output pipes or whatever of the sewer. They like to dump it out here in Clothall Jungle. Bloodthirst's orders back when he was
course.
champion.
Of course.
Did a lot about city planning. And there she is. Isn't she a beaut? And you see nestled at the base of this, like, massive hill, a tablet. A big stone tablet. To the naked eye, it seems like a gigantic gravestone, maybe? Sort of like a... That's sort of like the shape of it. But it's like easily 15 feet tall, right? And maybe like 5 feet wide at its widest. And you see like, it's like overgrown with like moss at the bottom, and there's like vines creeping up it, and like these like multicolored flowers growing at its base. And you see like runes like etched like vertically, almost in like an ancient script. Like down, like these tiny little runes that's gotta have like at least like 1,000 characters on it, right? And Dewey, you can just sense the like magical energy, like the ambient magical energy radiating off of this tablet. And Tonga like carefully approaches it, right? She starts reaching for the tool belt at her waist for like a chisel. All right, we just need one of these for you, I think, Cardew.
You just chip off a chunk?
Yeah, it's just, I don't know what this is exactly or how it got here, but it's just full of magical power. I'd chip off more if I could, but I don't know. Something in my gut tells me I should leave it alone. But it's just so full of power. I can't not take a little.
Dewey's gonna flip the Helm of Comprehend Languages
Oh my
glasses
God.
over his, the lens over his glasses. Is this a language? Is this a language that would be comprehensible through this?
Yes, because the Helm of Comprehend Languages comprehends all languages, right? Okay, I totally forgot you had that. So give me a second to pull up some notes.
I might argue that it's just all like current living
Modern?
languages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'cause
So if it's
I
like
would have had to program
dragon,
them.
yeah.
Yeah, give me a second here. My
If only
computer's
had-
being slow.
Yeah, someone who could read dragon.
If only you... V is busy getting choked to death by a giant tentacle.
Careful, Connie. Some people are into that.
Let's share Patreon for the uncut
Hey,
version.
shut the hell.
I want Zooey to accidentally chisel off the rune that says ass on it, personally.
Okay, I found my notes. Thank you for stalling. Dewey, you flip lenses over your glasses as you like tentatively approach this tablet. And you realize you know what the language is, but your magical device is struggling to parse it. It's almost like run through like Google Translate, right? Like a really literal version, because this language is so ancient, there's no like proper way to translate it, right? So it's like pretty much just gibberish to you. You see like distinct words are recognized, but you know the language. It is the language of Banua, which is the ancient tongue of the dragons and giants. There are
There were,
big characters etched at the very top, and 3 distinct words that like are the most legible to you: storm, fang, treaty.
Is this a historical?
Roll history.
Oh gosh.
Put that
Okay.
skill to use.
21.
21. You can ask 2 questions about this object, and I'll answer truthfully. This is something you would have found in your studies.
Is this an account of a historical event that happened in real life?
It is a historical event. This is the Stormfang Treaty, which is an ancient peace agreement etched out between the 2 civilizations of dragons and giants in prehistoric times. The treaty itself has long since been rumored to be lost. But here it is! It's literally right here, staring you in the face. What's your second question?
This is kind of more of like a perception question. Is it as weathered as I would expect for something that's ancient?
It's pretty weathered, but it seems to be imbued with ambient passive magic that's been keeping it like intact, right? If it were actually as ancient as you would expect it to be, which is like at least a few thousand years old, if not more, then it would be like have crumbled to dust by now, like here unprotected. But it's like the magic of its agreement, right? Like its words seem to, each rune is imbued with power. So that's the power that Tonga was talking about, that like seals this peace agreement together.
If I was making my best educated guess, what kind of magic would the treaty have entailed?
Probably some form of extremely powerful abjuration magic, which is like barriers and protection.
Okay. All right, I'm just gonna I'm gonna let Tonga do the chiseling. I'm gonna like look over her shoulder.
Okay.
A little nervously.
Tonga gets to her knees, like pops open like a different goggle, right? Starts chiseling out a rune, right? And she's like muttering like, I'm so sorry, but Cardew needs this. And you hear tink, 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 tink as she like works at it. Cardew, make a perception check for me as she's working.
15.
You hear footsteps crunching through the underbrush from directly behind you. Several footsteps, actually. At least 3 or 4 people. What do?
I turn around so I'm standing in front of Tonga's turned back and look at them.
Stepping out into this clearing, dressed in a suit and a tie, is Sievert. And he is flanked by 3 or 4 what appear to be just like lackeys, you know, but they're carrying instruments, right? One of them is carrying, not like musical instruments, like tools.
They're here for a jam band sesh, don't worry. They're here for a drum circle, it's fine.
Sievert says, would you like to join our jam session? No.
It's canon! It was said! This is canon!
They're carrying, like, one of them has, like, what appears to be, like, a pretty large, like, bag or, like, a sack or something. And they have, like drilling equipment and, like, shovels and, like, crowbars and levers, right? And Sievert cocks his big, muscular, like, dragonborn head to the side, and he smiles, his, like, one gold-capped tooth glinting in this mid-afternoon light. Ah, you're one of her friends, aren't you? I recognize you. Cardew Quirk.
I made that much of an impression on you?
No impression at all. But I take it upon myself to know everything about my enemies. This is your lucky day, Cardew. My quarrel is not with you. Step aside. The Stormfang Treaty is ours. Tonga is still chiseling and she pauses. She looks. Who? What are you? What? The storm what? Hey, what do you think you're doing here? What's the big idea? Cardew, what's going on? You know these people?
I say to Sievert, what's your business with this? What are you planning to do with it?
My business is none of yours, but we're here to take it. And if you stand in our way, I'll cut you down.
Is this a thing that could be lifted by 4 of these people?
Do you say this out loud, or are you asking me as a GM?
I'm asking you, sir.
They seem to have special tools and equipment for this.
Okay.
They seem to have, like, a plan, right?
I'm just here for, like, a little chunk. You know how much power is in this thing? How much latent power is in this? Like, I need, like, 0.5% of that. Just so I don't, blow up.
You know what? Fine. You can have your little rune stone, but the rest is ours. And tell V that you're now in our debt. I got it, Dewey. Sorry, I mean Cardew. Your friends are rubbing off on me. Here, I got the runestone. Let's just get out of here. Hey, you know that this is some sort of, like, ancient magical tablet, and if you try to take it, who knows what's gonna happen? Silence! I don't need to hear your pedantic whining. Get the treaty. And his goons start moving forward menacingly with their tools.
I stand I take a wider stance in front of him. You don't get to talk to her like that.
Cardew? What did you just say to me?
I didn't think I would get this far. You don't know what's going to happen. You have no idea what you're getting into by removing this. The world's already thrown off balance. I'm not going to let you just cart this off and use it for whatever experiments you want to do on it. Leave it alone.
You are the one who has no idea what you're dealing with. Yes, this world is thrown out of balance. That's why it needs a strong fist to rule it. Step aside if you know what's good for yourself, coward. That's right.
I seem to remember you being thrown out a window last time we met, but get out of here.
Why you? All right, Dewey, roll initiative. Yes!
Here's my TDK, my 2 total Dewey kill. 16.
Okay, 16 for Dewey. On Dewey rolling initiative, we cut back down to the sewers. Lashing tentacles, foaming gray water, portcullises on either side. Oka, Manaia, and V. The 3 of you braced as tentacles lash out of this cistern. I need the 3 of you to also roll initiative.
Non-natural.
Okay, non-natural 20 for Manaia. V, you have advantage.
Yes, and thanks to that advantage, I now have a 22.
Okay.
Good thing I limbered up, mother.
V has a 22. Manaia got a 21, right? Okay.
20.
What about Oka?
20.
20.
A 10.
A 10 for Oka. Gentleman's 10. Okay, give me a second.
But as this thing is cresting up out of the water, I am going to use my monster manual thingy that you gave me as a treat all those weeks ago. Don't think I've forgotten, because I have not. Which means that anytime a new monster appears, I can roll, I believe I roll a d20 to see, or I can mark my box and say that I have seen it before, or can draw some kind of conclusion about it. Since a lot of these monsters are either normal Andake monsters, or some of the empty monsters seem to be like monsters squished together. And if this thing has tentacles, I'm thinking like, okay, Oka is going like Kraken something, but is that something that happens on my turn? Or is that happening now?
Why don't it happen now? So how did I say that worked again? Do you have to make a roll, or do I just tell you?
I think I am almost certain that I think you just tell me because of something that I did earlier.
Okay. So because you spoke to Atalanta, I think is what it was, and she told you about some of the freaky monsters that had been like savaging the Raso, populace. So yeah, let me just scroll down to this part. 1 second. Okay. These are definitely what we've been calling empty beasts. They are not of Andake. They have been brought here by the cataclysm. And it appears as like tentacles are like, you see like a big like spiky tentacle like latch on to like a ledge, and then another one as like a creature hauls itself out of the gray surf. You see a huge, there seem to be 2 of them in the cistern. Seem to be of the same species, let's say. A huge, hulking, fleshy beast the size of a bull rhino. Right, emerges from this black water, its thick hide slick with offal. Its face has no eyes or nose or ears, it's all mouth. And its massive maw teems with sharp, spiny teeth, just like the spikes on its tentacles, right? Like the quills of a porcupine, right? Thin and long and sharp, glistening with what appears to be a purplish, greenish, reddish, ever-changing toxin from its mouth. And again, each of these monsters has 2 wiggling muscular tentacles protruding from its back, ending in quills, like I mentioned before, as sharp as their teeth. And finally, a 3rd tentacle protrudes from each of these creatures' backs, but this one ends in a cluster of swiveling, blinking eyeballs. Seems to be its like sensory probe. So Atalanta had not really named this creature, had just described it for you. So you know...
The Kraken core.
Are you calling it Kraken core?
Yeah, like a Kraken and a Manticore.
Okay, the Kraken core. Interesting name. Let's say Kraken core. You know that it seems to be able, with its probe, to... Atalanta had described, like poor victims being beguiled with some sort of telepathic, like, presence. Like, it seems to be able to communicate, unlike other empty beasts in, like, a limited fashion, mostly to communicate ideas of fear and, like, I'm gonna rip you apart, and, like, viciousness, right? Its bite is definitely very toxic. You want to avoid it. And if you get bitten by it, then you might get, like, poisoned by by a special disease that it can transmit. And obviously its lashing tentacles are very muscular. It can grab you, so you want to avoid being grabbed by these tentacles. It can also slam you with a tentacle. So this is like what it can do. What you know, Oka, it can do. And I'll also give you advantage on your first attack roll against one of these things.
Cool. As they rise up out of the gross water and Manaia says her fucking badass line, Oka like readies themselves and they're like, eye stalks first and don't fucking let it touch you.
Okay. And with that, V, you are first up with Manaia on deck. What do you do?
V is going to go ahead and cast minute meteors, but at level 5. So instead of 6 meteors, I get 10. Just rolling around me. And I'll take my bonus action to then send 2 of these straight at the closest eye stalk I can see.
Okay, are these attack rolls or saving throws?
These are saving throws for whether or not you take half damage or not.
Okay, so what am I saving against?
Dex. Save against...
Okay, they're not very dexterous.
It's 15. Sorry, it's changed since the last time I've been in a fight and used this.
It's twice, right?
Because
you do it... You cast
right,
2 meteors?
Right, there's 2 of them. I'm saying them at the same time, though, so... But there's 2, yeah, so... I don't know.
So I rolled twice.
GM.
I'm gonna say it has to make a saving throw for each separate meteor, and it failed on both. So roll full damage on this Kraken core.
Sounds good. First one was 8, the second one was 10, so 18 points of fire damage.
All right. What does it look like as you cast minute meteors at it?
So V's just gonna like fling her arms like in an arch over herself and like just 10 meteors that all then start like wrapping around her, and she just picks 2 up and just blows a double kiss of both of them at the eye, and they both just crash into the eye, and just a little mini explosion where they meet.
2 little mini explosions, poof, poof, at the point of contact, and this horrific creature, which had been trying to like climb up the edge of the cistern to get to you, lets out like a horrific screech out of its like toxin sludge covered maw, as it's like it's one like probing tentacle like whips like wildly, like whipping up brackish water. Is that the end of your turn, V, or are you trying to move?
I think I will just try to move to a spot as far away from...
Yeah, just get away from it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's say there's the walkway sort of covers the entire rim of the cistern, so you can like eke, like shimmy along like the edge of this walkway to like get away from this thing.
Sounds good.
Okay, is that the end of your turn?
Yep.
Okay, next up is going to be it. And then it's Manaia, right? So this thing that you just attacked is going to let out another like this horrific shriek from its maw. And its 2 tentacles are going to flail up, and it is going to lunge forward up at Manaia. And its huge maw is going to open wide. So Manaia, what is your armor class?
My Manaia's armor class is relatively low. It is a 15.
Could you repeat that? Because I did not really catch that.
My apologies. I am dropping everything. My armor class is 15.
Okay. That is going to be a hit. So Manaia, you are going to take, let's see, 13 points of piercing damage as this creature just barrels, like it lunges out of the water and like just slams into you, and you feel its sharp piercing spines like sink into your body. And I also need you to make a Constitution saving throw as like the toxic sludge starts like seeping and sloshing like all over you.
I like doing those. Use a point of inspiration. Personal.
Okay.
That was a nat 1.
That's not great.
Okay, I'll take a 14.
A 14, you sure?
Yeah.
Okay,
hopefully that's still a miss, but like not as bad as a
nat
lower.
1. Yeah, that's true. Okay, that is not quite going to be sufficient. So as you feel the poison like beginning to sink into your body, just as Oka had feared, you feel you're now poisoned. As this like kraken core's like gross presence is like seeping into you, and you can like feel its like slobbering saliva like dripping all over your body as its tentacles are thrashing around you, right? So what this means is you're poisoned until your disease, this special disease, is cured. So every 24 hours that elapses from now on, you have to repeat this saving throw or reduce your hit point maximum on a failure. But if you succeed, then it's cured. Or you can like seek out a special like disease curing like situation. So I think what this means is as it like bites into like the front part of your armor of your body, we see like black and like gold veins begin to like spread out from like the site of the bite. And okay, as you look over, something about the black and gold vein seems familiar to you, and you flash back to Etelian lowering its head and goring you, while like black and like gold like foam crests on its mouth. And now but you are flung out of this memory, Oka, as one of its tentacles, like as it's like feasting on Manaia, like flings outward and attempts to hit you. So Oka, what is your armor class?
15 also.
It's going to hit you for 9 points of bludgeoning damage, plus 5 points of piercing damage. As you're bludgeoned with it, but the sharp spikes also like slam against your shoulder. And it wraps its tentacle around your waist and begins to squeeze as its muscular tentacle grapples you. You're restrained right now by this kraken core. So now it is going to be Manaia's turn. Manaia, what do you do?
Yeah. Manaia maybe like clutches at the wound a little bit and like goes ah. And then shakes her head, gets herself out of it. She hasn't been in battle for a while. So but she remembers something very important. And she closes her eyes, and when they next open, they're glowing, swirling green and orange, and her armband, the crown of leaves, lights up as she thrusts her hands out to either side. And with a voice that resonates through the weave, she says, "Autumn." And she's going to use the armband's power. Or sorry, the word is fall, but I prefer autumn, actually.
That's fine.
Executive decision. So, as she does this, winds whip around basically the entire arena, swirling with withering leaves, and, well, I guess it's only within 10 feet of me. And any tentacles or opponents that are hit are pushed 10 feet away in a straight line by this wind.
Okay, you blast this creature right like out from where it's like basically biting and chomping on you, and it falls back into the cistern, but it's still holding onto Oka. And Oka, it's like pulling Oka into the water because it's like tentacles wrapped around them.
Damn it.
Oka's just
Okay.
ragdolling around.
Oka is capable. I trust them. I also do an extra 1d8 necrotic damage, so Manaia is going to lunge forward towards the tentacle that's being knocked back. and try to chop it off.
Okay. Was I wrote it, but I forget. Is it a bonus action to do
It's
like
a bonus
that?
action
Okay,
to
awesome.
activate.
Great. So make an attack roll.
Use another point of personal inspiration.
Sounds good.
That's better. Where's my character sheet? 18.
That is sufficient. Roll damage.
Sorry, 17.
That is still sufficient. Roll damage.
That is going to be 16 points of slashing damage and 3 points of necrotic. So 19 total.
Okay, 19 total. Sounds good. As you bear down your axe on this thing's like meaty tentacle, bam! You like slam down into it, and like the sharp blade of your axe wedges into its meat.
And I do get an extra attack.
Okay.
Fighter baby. That is going to be a nat 20 to hit. Look at that.
Okay. So you can either
Hey!
so you can either take max damage and then roll dice again, or you can roll double dice and choose a narrative boon,
I'll roll the dice and choose a narrative boon.
which
Do I
could be
choose that
like,
now?
yeah. Do you want to like cut it off? I'm assuming is your boon.
If I don't deal enough damage to actually cut it completely off, because I'm doing necrotic damage, maybe the flesh starts to rapidly decompose and it's maybe put out of commission.
Like the
for, like, a
creature
turn?
entirely. Oh,
Or just the tentacle.
I don't think so. Yeah, I think what the narrative boon would be is to just cut it off and like
Okay.
free Oka, right? And like have it lose a tentacle and like lose an attack opportunity, basically.
Okay, yeah. That makes sense. That makes
Sounds
sense.
good. Roll double dice.
Shit. 12, 20, 20 slashing plus 5 necrotic for the first one. So 25 total. And 10, 7, sorry. 7, 11 slashing and 6 necrotic for the second one. So 16 total. Or
Oh, you mean
17
17.
total.
17. Okay.
17 total.
Cool.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
you
rely on you to add those up.
you slam your axe down and you cut this thing's tentacle off, right?
Hell
As it
yeah.
like it like splashes into the water, and Oka like flies off to the side with its like chopped off tentacle like wrapped around your body, Oka. Is that your turn, Manaia?
Yeah.
Okay, with Oka still sailing through the air in like another direction, right? Like with this tentacle wrapped around you, it is going to be Quicksilver's turn. Quicksilver draws his quick draw, closes one eye. What was that?
Quick sling?
His there are various names for this device.
okay,
Quick
yeah,
draw,
yeah.
quick sling. We're not going to get too nitty gritty about it. Like closes one eye and says to the three of you, "Like I said, this is where your journey ends." And there is a loud bang as they aim it at V. So V, what is your armor class?
16.
Okay. It is going to hit you for 9 points of piercing damage and 6 points of fire damage.
Okay.
As you feel something like an arrow, but a lot smaller and a lot more painful, like somehow, like pierce your shoulder. And I think I need you to make a strength save.
7.
As you stumble backward, right, and I think you fall prone against this like walkway, right, where you've been like trying to hide out from. And you look down, you see like smoke trailing off of your shoulder as there feels to be like something like a piece of metal like lodged in your body, and that's just radiating like a fiery like pain like out from your body. And the noise was really loud when Quicksilver like fired off this weapon. Okay. Next is going to be Oka. What do you do?
Oka is flying through the air wrapped in a tentacle, being extremely unhelpful to all their friends. Until now, I hope. and I think like they're still kind of like wrapped in it, even though it's not pulling them anymore. And they just kind of like go, and their good old culling edge, because they can't really reach back to grab anything as their arms are tied. The culling edge just comes like up, more like kind of serrated out of the top of their arm. And I'll lose my hit points for that in 1 second. And they just kind of like go like up and out, probably just to like slice it away from themselves. And that is, yep, I activate that. And they kind of like stumble back onto the ground. They like try to land on their feet. Where is, I know, like, and the loud noise goes off and they kind of like flinch as it does. And they like look back toward Quicksilver. Where are the monsters and where am I in relation to them?
Well, you are falling down through the cistern, so I don't think you land on your feet. You're falling through the air.
Oh, I thought, okay. I thought I was falling like off to the side because I got chopped and saved. But if that's so, Oka kind of just like punches the culling edge into the side of the cistern and they like plant their feet against it to try to like hold on there.
Okay, just make an athletics check for me real fast.
16.
That is sufficient. You punch your culling edge in and you drag yourself to a stop like you're a rock climber. Now what do you do?
I'm gonna be a rock climber. How far is like the edge of the cistern?
Only about 5 feet above you.
Okay. Are there monsters up there? Or is this like another, this is kind of just where we started, eh? Like with Ace and the tide wolves, etc. on the other side?
Yes, the monsters are beneath you in the water.
Great. Oka's gonna just like kind of, kick off with their feet, jump up, grab the edge, haul themselves over, and they just keep using that momentum. And they are actually heading toward the bars, the grate that came down with Ace and the other two on the other side. And they kind of like slam against it and they're like, you want to play this game? Fine. Let's see what happens when the monsters get out. And I am going to attack the bars more so. And I will activate both my Rite of Flame. I think I can only activate one at a time. So I'm going to activate my Rite of Flame. And just kind of like, I said that the blade was a little more serrated, just like drag it across the iron bars.
Okay, make an attack roll against the portcullis.
I'm using inspiration. I'm gonna use another inspiration. I'm gonna use my last inspiration. It's just a 5, a 4, and a 4. Okay. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Sorry, 19.
That is sufficient. Roll damage.
Great. That is going to be 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 24, 25, 26, 28. Oh my god. 28 points of damage total. Part of it is fire damage. I think 6 is fire damage and the rest is slashing damage.
Very cool. Describe to me what it looks like as you slice open this portcullis.
Yeah, it's kind of a horrible noise, and it's like the heat of the metal just kind of like glides. Like it takes a little bit of effort, but it kind of just like glides through, and the bars just kind of like crack and like fall to the floor, and the sound of iron bars hitting the ground as it twinkles down, and they just kind of go at Ace and the other two, like boo, at Ace and the Tide Wolves on the other side.
Make an intimidation check with advantage.
Oh, not so good. 11 minus 2, so 9.
It's okay. They don't have very high morale. So Ace and Priam and Kato both go, eep! All three of them go eep, and like Ace's like fur like stands on end. Priam and Kato like back away from you. You know, you see Priam like rubbing the old wound where you like banged him, right, where you bashed him up. Ace is gonna go, this isn't the end of it. This isn't the end. We're gonna get you one day. Just you wait.
And then as they start to go, I technically have another attack, actually. I always forget that I have a second attack. So Oka is going to whistle at their friends, be like, time to go. And if there is one of those beasties trying to climb up, I want to try to draw it into the sewer to cause havoc on the people who tried to make it eat us. That's what I want to do.
Okay. Make a persuasion check.
How about an animal handling check?
You know what? I will allow it. I will allow it, even though it's not exactly an animal.
Haha, all I need to do is bet my eyelashes at you. That's actually pretty good. 16.
Okay, how are you doing to draw its attention?
So you said it has like an eye stalk, right? And like tentacles and mouth?
Yes, but many of the eyes have been destroyed by these attacks.
What about the second one?
The second one is fully okay. It has not been hit yet. It's still sort of like in the surf.
Okay. Oka's just trying to make themselves like big, and like draw attention and like move a lot, you know? Even like with the fire, like sparking it, like, hey, come on, buddy. You hungry? Let's go.
These kraken core, like you see that, like one of them with their like broken like eye stalk, but the other one with its like totally okay eye stalk. I'm gonna sneeze 1 sec. Thank you. They like their tentacles go rigid and they like point in your direction, right? And you hear both of them go as they start to climb up the side of the cistern, sort of ignoring Manaia, ignoring V, even ignoring Quicksilver, who's shouting, hey, don't do that. You don't know what you're doing.
I don't know what I'm doing. You don't know what you're doing messing with shit like this. This is why you don't keep monsters as pets.
Hey, stop it. And you hear another loud like explosion noise as Quicksilver fires off 2 more arrows. You're not exactly
Sorry.
Arrows, you're not exactly sure what they are at these creatures, but they just, the bullets just sort of like ping, ping, ping off like their hides, right? As these creatures like toward you, Oka, and they're motoring, they're going. But as they move out of Manaia's range, Manaia, you technically get an attack of opportunity against them if you want to. But they seem uninterested in you, they seem interested in the outdoors, and like getting out of here.
Can I give my technical extra attack to V to also make an opportunity attack against them?
Yes, you can. Quicksilver is also there under like half cover with the portcullis, though.
Oh, well, I'm busy with the monsters. So I'll give it to V.
Okay, V, what would you like to do with Oka's extra attack gifted to you?
Oh my god.
Manaia also gets an attack of opportunity. I want them both to have one.
Yes, they both. Y'all both get to do something cool as these monsters motor their way out of here.
But I think we've had the discussion before where I can't use spells, right? For an attack of opportunity, I have to like.
I'll allow it. It's fine. I'll allow it.
Excellent. Perfect. Then I will go ahead and shoot some scorching rays at some of these monsters here.
Okay, what about you, Manaia? What are you doing with your attack of opportunity?
After V attacks, Manaia is going to cast Thunderwave to try to push them back to give us a head start on getting out.
Okay, very cool. So let's resolve Scorching Ray first. How many are you shooting and at which ones?
I will do all 3. Let's see.
At the injured one or the uninjured one?
Injured one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for the injured one.
Okay. Make 3 attack rolls.
14, 24, and 17.
All 3 hit. Roll damage.
Excellent. Hold on, I got her. I'm using. It feels like so long since I've used spells. Let's see. Yeah, making sure I got enough dice here. So we'll say 3 on one race, 6 on another, and you know what? I'm gonna use a sorcery point to use a brand new meta magic thing that I have with my new level, where empowered spell where I can reroll up to my charisma modifier, which is 3, and I've got 3 1s here, and I want to reroll all of them.
Oh my god, okay.
That was so much better. So we'll say 5. You're still a 6 and 11. 5, 6, and 11.
5, 6, and 11 total?
Yeah, so 22 total fire damage.
How do you fucking kill this thing?
I'm just gonna how about this? I'm gonna shoot one at a time and just like as if like I hope it's dead, like with each one like and then just like it looks like it's dead and it like but it like hiccups or something.
The first ray like killed it, right? Bam! And you see like this fire scorch along its height. It lets out a and it like gets down on like its like knobbly knees, right? You hit it again, it like hiccups pathetically. You hit it again and it shudders and it stops moving.
Yay!
Yay! You killed it! You killed the Kraken core! And now it's going to be the other one. Completely uninterested in the attacks, you know, assailing its brethren. The uninjured Kraken core is going to barrel past you, Manaia.
Wait. This is attack of opportunity.
Yes. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I'm describing what's happening as this thing dies and this other thing moves. Yeah. Yep. This Kraken core lets out. It's like scuffing, like it's like you notice that it's got like toenails, like it's hoved toenails, like against like the cement ground as it barrels past you, Manaia, ignoring the other one that's being scorched alive by V. What do you do as it's lowering its huge maw toward the portcullis and trying to get through?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully before it gets behind Manaia, she's going to cast Thunderwave. And so here's what's going to happen, right? She's going to do the Avatar Aang pose, where she goes like this.
Can you describe it for those who are listening through the podcast?
Right. She's going to put both of her fists together in front of her. And her eyes flash with power as the air around her compresses, and the sound of just her fists coming together is amplified because all of this, the sound waves travel quicker through solids than liquids, and yeah, the what is it?
The Kraken core.
What was it? Kraken core. The Kraken core needs to make a Constitution saving throw.
Okay, against what?
And against, it was 13 actually. I did my math wrong, not 14. 13.
Okay, it fails. What happens?
All right, it's gonna take 3d8 thunder damage. 17.
Okay.
And be pushed back 10 feet, giving us a head start.
You
And then I'm
push,
just gonna,
and you're gonna book it out of this chamber,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
Yeah.
You push it, poof, like 10 feet directly in the direction of Priam, Kato, and Ace, right? As like you pummel it with this force energy, but it doesn't even seem to mind, right? As its maul, it's out of and it starts attacking Priam, Kato, and Ace, and you hear the 3 of them start screaming as this thing like jumps on top of one of the tide wolves and its tentacles start lashing, right? And Ace lets out a squeal and starts running, and the other tide wolf tries to like punch it off, right? But like Priam is like, his screaming is swallowed by the chomping noise of this gigantic creature, right? And Priam stops screaming. As Manaia, you run out past like the melted bars of the portcullis that Oka is standing nearby. And V, do you also follow your comrades out?
Gosh, I was gonna do something else, but
Ooh, what do you want to do?
is it my turn?
We're out of initiative now that the main
Okay.
monsters are gone, so you can do what you want in whatever order.
Sweet. So actually, then I'm gonna dimension door to the other side of Quicksilver, and pull the lever to make the portcullis go back up, and then I'm just gonna use like 2 more meteors and blast Quicksilver, hopefully into the water, maybe.
You reappear behind Quicksilver, who lets out a what? You grab the lever and you pull it down. As Quicksilver also goes for it to stop you, but he's not quite quick enough. And the portcullis goes up. Make 2 attack rolls against him.
Yes, indeed. Well, this is since it's the meteors, this is him doing a
saving
dex
throw.
save
Saving
against
throw.
15.
My apologies.
Yep.
Okay. You got a 6 and a 3. So roll damage.
Yeah. Okay. Hold on. I've just see. I think I'm gonna use another sorcery point to do that empowered spell. I just want to make sure I can use that multiple times I don't think I'm limited by like number. I think
No,
I'm
you're
just limited by. Perfect. So I'm just gonna re-roll 2 of these dice. And 10, 14 total fire damage.
Okay. You hit Quicksilver for 14 points of fire damage. He stumbles, right? Like against like the ledge. He goes, hey! And he's like pulling out his arm to try to like hopefully like reaching out for you, you know, as he starts to fall back. And his hand starts like swiping at like your front. But because you don't have a tie anymore, his hand just swipes air and he falls backward and disappears into the gray surf. Oka, you witness all of this. What do you do?
I fucking laugh. And then I notice that the tide wolves are getting eaten, and I'm like, okay. Oh boy. I'm kind of at the threshold of this broken down portcullis, which I think tries to rise, and it's getting like stuck because the bars are broken, kind of thing. And they're like, come on, let's go. No time. Although that was fucking hilarious, V.
And now V will run after and join her friends.
On V running like past Oka, you know, and Oka dashing, right, and Manaia going in this horrible, like still alive Kraken coral, like just dismembering. Like you don't see it, right? But it's horrific, this attack, right? Like happening to like Priam and Kato. You run off, you don't know what their fates are, but presumably they're not great. And the 3 of you peel off down this sewer tunnel. As you do, I think like we pan up like through like layers of dirt and earth,
through the
right?
ceiling.
Through the sediment, through the ceiling, you know, we see like bones, we see like the layers of sediment, you know, we go up past like rocks, past like grassy turf, and we see Sievert standing there, breathing angrily, like frost, like gusts coming out of his flaring nostrils, and Dewey. Dewey Quirk, with your wings spread protectively in front of Tonga, who's still hunched there at the base of this massive tablet. You rolled a 16, Dewey. What do you do?
Dewey is going to so he's been wearing this cloak for a while, right? He's worn it since we started the adventure, so it's pretty tattered. He doesn't take great care of his clothes. So it's patched up. He's learned how to sew. So he pulls out one of these patches, and it comes off, and he slaps it down on the ground in front of him, and a pit forms underneath Sievert and his lackeys, and they fall into it.
Dewey Quirk, international man of mystery, international bird of mystery.
Where the fuck did you get that, Dewey?
I made it.
Okay, how deep is the pit?
10 feet.
Okay, that buys you time to like get away. That's okay. A pit just poof appears underneath Sievert and his 3 goons, and there's a moment where they're like off where them are standing in midair, and then they just fall like a Looney Tunes like moment. Like Seifert's like, "You're gonna regret." Ah! As he falls into the pit, and you hear like a thump. What else? What else do you do, Dewey?
I'm out of actions, but I have plans afterwards. After I guess they take their turns.
You have speed, so you can get out of there, or you can like continue trying to beat them.
I'm just gonna step back a couple feet so they can't see me.
Okay. You step back, and Tonga's like, "I have the runestone. Cardew, should we get out of here? How did you? That was amazing. What was that? We'll talk artificer stuff later. What's the plan here, Cardew?"
I need that runestone in your hands. You should run.
Here. And Tonga hands you the runestone, but says, "I'm not leaving you alone, Cardew. I'm not gonna abandon you."
Okay, but you don't want to be here when maybe this thing that might not work inevitably fails.
Listen to the bird, woman. And you see a hand shoot up, right? Like Day of the Dead. Seifert's claw shoots up from like the edge of this like hole, and then like bam, like grabs onto the turf, and he pulls himself up. Like his perfectly dappled suit is now streaked with like gunk and like dirt and grime, and he's got like some like dirt like on his face, and he's like got this like nasty snarl like on his snout, and he pulls himself all the way out of the pit, spending 10 feet of movement to do so, and he pulls himself up to his full height, right? And he says, "You're going to regret doing that." And he lets out a breath of like frosty, wintry air, like with like little like ice shards like shot through it. So I need you to make a dex save.
I'm gonna use some inspiration.
Okay.
17.
That is sufficient. You're only going to take half damage. So Dewey, as you dive out of the way, you are going to take... I rolled really low. 6 points of cold damage as Seivert like breathes into you, right? And Tong goes, "Ah!" And she also like rolls out of the way, right? But the frost like rhymes on half of her body, and she lets out a little cry of pain. And then Seivert's gonna motoring at you like a train. He's gonna like run toward you. But because he used a lot of his speed getting out of the pit, I don't think he can reach you on his turn. So now it's back to you.
Okay, he dove behind a rock, right? To escape the frost breath. So Dewey is going to hold up. All spells are like one action, right? Most of them?
Unless they have a casting speed of a bonus action.
Wait, hold up. Is this... Okay, shit. Okay. Dewey's going to cast Disguise Self.
Okay.
So he steps out from behind the rock. He's a foot taller, because he can be a foot taller. His wings are wider, and they are shifting in color, so that if you look at them, you feel a little bit dizzy. His talons are iridescent. He's not wearing a watch, and rising from his wings is like red, orange, and purple flames coming off of him. And also his eyes, he doesn't have pupils, he just has scleras, and they're glowing blinding yellow, I guess. He's gonna step out from behind the rock and go... oh god. You don't know what you're getting into. You don't like me, I get it. You respect what she's capable of. We are unto gods. You don't know what you're fucking with.
What? Cardew's self-confidence arc? Confirmed? Okay, take inspiration for that. That was baller as hell. Sievert screeches to a stop, like in front of you, right? And is like eyeing you carefully. Like, and you can see him like calculating, like, is this a trick or is this like your true form? Like, what's happening here, right? Like, he's running the calculus like through his brain of like whether or not it's worth it to fight you. And he says carefully, like, what is this? An illusion? A trick? Everything I've read about you, everything I've learned about you says you're a coward. Nothing more than someone just who runs away from his problems. What makes you think you're this? This is just a trick, isn't it?
It doesn't matter what I look like, but the God part is true. If you mess with this, and things go even more to shit than they already have, and he's gonna pull out the giant sword on his back and point it at Sievert, so he doesn't come closer.
Okay. That's really cool. Make an intimidation check with advantage.
Oh gosh. You wanna know what the first one was?
Was it a nat one?
Oh
What
god,
was it?
it was a nat one. Can I use more inspiration?
Yes, you have
This is
3
not going
personal.
well.
Max!
This is not going well. What?
Max! Use the crit! Use the auto crit!
Auto crit.
I'll use the auto crit.
We technically have 2, don't we? Because we wait. How much? Where are we at?
We're
never
at
mind.
13. If we get 2 more subs, we'll get the auto crit back. Okay. Poor Sievert. He can't get a W.
He's sexist. He doesn't deserve one.
Oh my god.
W is for women's rights. Dewey says I'm a male feminist. You brandish your sword, son. At Sievert, whose like eyes widen and he pauses, right? As his goons are climbing out of the pit and they're going, ah! He goes, wait. I didn't want to believe it, but it's true, isn't it? The Paragons are back. And you're one of them, aren't you?
You do the math. Don't fuck with me.
Stand down. We'll come back for this later. This isn't over. Even gods can fall. The Paragons of yore did die at each other's throats after all. And Sievert like slowly backs away, you know, like from the tablet. He's finished doing his calculations. It's not worth it to fight you, is what he's decided. And he's cowed by your like shimmering godlike presence. And he turns tail and flees, along with the rest of his goons, into the woods. Tonga peeks out from behind the tablet at your buff, like, macho bird form. And you see, like her eyes are wide. You see just, like, a little, like, a look on her face you've never seen before. And Tonga goes, Cardu?
I remember that Tonga's behind me, and I turn, and the disguise drops.
Oh! Wow, I thought that was real. Cardu, what?
Oh, the ex that guy, I picked up a bunch of things from her.
V, right?
Yeah.
Wow, that was amazing. Cardu, you're amazing. And Tonga runs out from behind the tablet and wraps you up in a big hug.
I embrace her back.
Aww. She hugs you really close and lets go, looking at you and says, wow, I can't believe you chased those guys off. They looked like they were serious business.
I mean, this tablet is more serious than those idiots.
I guess you're right. I mean, what do you know about this tablet? I thought it was just some sort of ancient object in the woods, some sort of artifact, but I have no idea what it's about. What do you know?
It looks like it's a relic from dragon times.
What? Wait,
Yeah.
wait, Cardi, do you hear that?
And
And
what?
Tonga tilts her head up toward we like pan up like this like cliffside pan up where this to where this brackish dirty water is flowing out of the cement pipe, right? Then we shoot through the cement pipe and we are going to land on where Oka, Manaia, and V are hurrying through the sewers. Oka, what's going on?
I think Oka was the last one to get out, but they're trying to navigate like from wherever they think Cain is, just based on what's in front of them, and they're like shouting up at whoever's leading the charge, which is either Manaia or V, going like, "Next left, fuck, wait, no, straight," and they're just like shouting, like, and then like maybe they're like somebody at the end, and they like all skitter to a stop, and Oka's like, right instead, they're just kind of like yelling and sprinting full tilt through the sewers.
Manaia and V, how are the two of you responding as you're running next to Oka?
Manaia takes every direction in stride, using her axe to, if she takes a wrong turn, she, like, slams it against the ground and it skids, sparks flying as she, like, as she drifts around a corner.
Does a donut.
Tokyo
Yes.
drift! She Tokyo drifts! Manaia's Tokyo drifting!
She's not Jukan, she can't Tokyo do anything.
Kinongbo drift!
God.
But you know who is.
Oh my god, okay, so what's V doing?
I think V is actually, she still has like 8 of her meteors. So I think as they're running, she's also using the meteors to like clear shit out of the way, probably like, gunk that's developed and shit. And also, whenever there's like a shift of like, right, no, I mean left, V is like totally like, she has slippery shoes that aren't good. So she totally like, and like has to like kind of do some windmills with her arms to like get back on her balance and start running in the correct direction.
It's a goddamn Scooby-Doo chase down here.
Oh my god. I hate that this is what this campaign's become. I'm like, here's this horrific monster tearing someone limb to limb, and you're like, da 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 da. V,
We blue shelled them.
you use your nitro bursts with the meteors to like
My
bam bam bam
God.
like firecrackers spark yourself.
And maybe Oka's like, through this wall, and just like the meteors go through,
Definitely. Eventually, like running, scrambling, like turning, like you see weird shit in the sewers, but there's no time to process what you see. As you continue running, like you pass by like a gelatinous cube, you like pass by some oozes and jellies and like big, like giant rats, like something that like level 3 adventurers would encounter. But you run past all of this and you end up in front of like a massive walkway, right? Where the stream of the sewer disappears under a big bridge. And across this bridge is a giant archway, right? With like 2 big statues next to it, both of Bloodthirst. You see, but they're huge. They're like 8-foot tall statues of this Felis, with like his paws crossed, like in front of his chest, right, and like made up to look really intimidating. So he looks more like Xiaohu, right, than he probably looks like in person. And you see bodies, corpses of guards strewn just like in front of this archway. There's like blood leaking like into the river running down this bridge, right? And you see holes in their chests, like punched through their armor, right? And these bodies litter in like through the archway where there's like a tunnel, like a hallway leading deeper into what you assume is Bloodthirst's like inner ring. But there's like so many bodies, at least like 5 or 7 like heavily armed guards are just dead and like on the ground. What do the 3 of you do?
I think maybe we all take pause for a second as we like come up to this. And Oka goes, fuck, too late, fuck. And they like push through to try to like be, they're going forward first.
Yeah, I think. Oh god.
Manaia comes behind Oka, and is summoning some wind to push them even faster.
What about you, V?
V is going to come to a screeching halt and watch what Oka and Manaia are doing. And I think V is actually going to just like kind of also do one last check like behind them as well and just get a little more suspicious about their surroundings.
Okay. On edge, perceptive alert, the three of you push your way through this like massive like hallway, right? And it's completely dark, so I'm assuming you're still like, you've got like light going of V like to illuminate the way. And the three of you hear something before you see it. And it's the same noise that Dewey up on the surface hears coming clanging through that open pipe. It is the noise of a tremendous battle. You hear clanging, you hear what sounds to be like magic streaking through the air, boom, like screaming and shouting, right? Like orders being barked, and like weird noises too, like boom, 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 and like there's like maybe like half a dozen people by the sounds of it, like fighting each other. You're not exactly sure as you get closer and closer running, right? I think we're gonna end the session on two voices coming to a head. You hear one voice layered over with like several other voices. And when you hear this voice, V, your heart skips a beat because it was the same double layered voice that rejected you back in the carnival. But now Cain's voice is coming through over it as well. And Cain is saying, "You took my life from me. You took my childhood. You took everything from me. And for that, I'm going to rip your heart out." And you hear another voice respond, "I always knew you were an ungrateful brat. Seize them, now!" And more sounds of fighting. As Oka, Manaia, and V, the three of you, arrive at the scene of a bloodbath. We're gonna end the session there.
Ah!
Yay! So thank you all so much, everyone, for
We end the scene at a bloodbath. Yay!
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Arc 3, Episode 11, Renegade Flesh.
Hey, we only have 81, we have 19% to go before that happens. Shut the hell up, Connie.
Squeak Appears Challenge, we've almost completed it. So if you don't know what that is, we have 23 days left to hit Squeak Appears, which means if we hit this challenge, no matter how impossible, no matter where we are in the campaign, Squeak the Grung Merchant will appear. This is the most narrative control chat has over our campaign. So please contribute to this challenge to see if Squeak will appear during this mini boss fight, question mark, against Bloodthirst and Cain. So yeah, thank you all so much for tuning in. I've been Connie, your GM and executive producer. My pronouns are they, he, and she. You can find me on Twitter, Itch, and Patreon at @byConnieChong. And with that, I'm going to pass along introductions to Lyra.
Everyone, my name's Lyra. I use they, she pronouns. Whoop, forgot I added one. I am the artistic director of Shout, Minnesota's gender diverse voices, and all trans me-led choir based in the Twin Cities. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram at Shout Minnesota. I also stream on here when the energies of the universe converge. So check me out at Rika Honda. That's RIKA and Honda Civic, but without the Civic. And I'll pass introductions on to Erica.
Hi, I'm Erica, she, her pronouns, and I did play V Nocturzo. And you can catch me, Erica New Girl, on all social media platforms, but specifically here on Twitch. I will be streaming tomorrow, 2:30 p.m. Central, playing some more Red Dead Redemption 2, where I realize half the game is an epilogue. Imagine that. And with that, I pass to Max.
Hey, I'm Max. I go where they them pronouns. I play Dewey Quirk, part-time spicy chicken. You can find me doing my sewing stuff on Instagram and Etsy at Stitchmonger. I'll pass it to C.
Hi, my name is C. I use they them pronouns. I'm a dancer, digital artist, tabletop streamer. You can commission me to do art for you by checking me out on PieSharp Art on all social medias except for Twitch, which is pie_sharp. I played Okahie, your local horny for fellow god taxi murderer. Anyway, Connie, what else is happening this week on Transplanar RPG?
We've got our next installment of One Shot Wonders this Tuesday, July 20th. That's going to be Hazard Pay with Cardu, Dewey, Quirk leading 3 amazing BIMPOC TTRPG performers who used hashtag BIMPOC shoot your shot at us. So support queer, trans, black, indigenous, etc., people of color in tabletop RPGs, and tune in this Tuesday as Dewey takes them through a monster survival horror game. A chase of their lives. But until then, we are going to be raiding DJ Knight, who is playing Warframe. They are a black streamer. Pop in, give them a follow, say hi to them. We love you all so much. We did hit 15 subs, so the autocrit's back on the table for this fight. But will Connie get to use it again for Cain? Because I used it as Cain last time, so hopefully we'll see what's going to happen. We love you all so much. We'll see you for our next main campaign episode next Saturday. Tune in this Tuesday also for our next Arc 1 episode 4 is going to drop. That's exciting in podcast form. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. We love you all so much. We will see you Tuesday and Saturday. Peace.
Dum, dum,